Softer.
That's going to do it. They're not even going to run on the play. We're going to head to the locker room.
That's interesting. You could have thrown a Hail Mary, right?
That's what I thought.
The only reason you would do that is because I've always wondered, quarterback could get hurt. Look at, he's upset right here. Mahomes is like, I don't want to run the ball and finish the half. He's like, well, stop. We're playing good. It's tough. They got a good D-line. I know, but just trust us. Come on.
Andy says, come on, let's go on in. But a little disagreement there inside Kansas.
It's going for the next half. And I guess, I don't know if that's an altercation, but, I mean, that was the end of the conversation.
Welcome in, everybody, to the TPT podcast. Today, we're going to be diving into a little bit of the Indianapolis Colts game and what's going on with Hurricane Ian for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers game coming up on Sunday Night Football.
65 horsepower trap. That might pop wide open, Rats.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs, they traveled into Indianapolis to play the Colts, and it wasn't the result the Kansas City Chiefs wanted. A brutal game from the start. Sky Moore muffs a punt. Chiefs get the ball back after the Colts go down and score a touchdown, and it was a good punt by the Colts. They pin him at the 1 yard line. The Chiefs have to punt after not picking up a first down, and from there, it just started to spiral out of control. The Chiefs could just not get it together. They just looked depleted, and it was very sad to see because they had 10 days to prep for this game, and it was the most dysfunctional game I've seen from the Chiefs from a long time, even going back to the Todd Haley era. It just looked like players and coaches were not on the same page. We're going to get to the whole Eric Bieniemy and Patrick Mahomes fiasco on the sideline before half here in a minute. But it just looked like the coaching was off, special teams was off. And I'm going to go on a little rant here, but going for it on 4th down, 4th and 11, fake punt with a right-handed punter rolling left, I thought was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And they were a good 8 yards from picking up the first down. It was just brutally bad. There was nothing more just stupid that I saw from that game than that play right there. And it just seemed like the play calling. The play calling has been off. Like, the play calling, to me, seems like it's been the same type of play calling from what it was years prior. And it can't be that. We don't have Tyreek Hill. We don't have healthy Sammy Watkins. We don't have, some of these other weapons that were here. The play calling, in my opinion, has to be different for the Kansas City Chiefs. You have big body receivers. We have to get it done in different ways now. It just seems like we don't know what to call. On 2nd and 9, 10, it's just, are we going to run? What are we going to do? We don't know. And Kelsey's got to be better. We saw it on Twitter. They said he's got to be better. Yeah, Kelsey's got to be better. I think this should motivate the Kansas City Chiefs going into Tampa Bay. We're going to talk about the Tampa Bay game here in a minute. But sticking with the Colts game, just too many mistakes, and the Chiefs didn't deserve to win that game. Too many mistakes from the Kansas City Chiefs to think they would deserve to win that game. You had Chris Jones get a sack. The game's over. You get the ball. You can run out the clock. Chris Jones gets a sack, has to talk trash in Matt Ryan's face. We don't know what he said. He could have said 28-3. He could have said you're washed or whatever. Or call him a curse word. If he didn't call him anything, then a slander or racist or something like that, then I don't think that deserves a flag. But I also think keep your mouth shut, do your job, and get off the field. A stupid penalty that altered the game where now they can go down and they can score a touchdown and basically run the time off the clock. And I thought Andy Reid did a terrible job of not calling a timeout, leaving more time for Patrick Mahomes so he could go down and score. They got it with 4 minutes left. Andy Reid has to get better with his clock management, and he has to get better adjusting. He is one of the best coaches in the NFL, one of the best coaches in NFL history. But he has to learn to adjust. And then we got Eric Bieniemy going at it back and forth with Patrick Mahomes. They decided to just run the ball out on 2nd and 20 with 35 seconds left before half. And Patrick Mahomes says, let me go for it. And I think that was an Andy Reid decision that Eric Bieniemy was maybe backing. I mean, maybe that's what I'm thinking. Because I don't think Eric Bieniemy calls the plays. I think he has the plays, he goes over the game plan, and he filters it out there. But I don't think Eric Bieniemy goes through the plays. But you cannot go back and forth with your quarterback in front of everybody, in front of all the cameras on the sideline. You just can't do that. You can't. It was a bad, just crap of a game for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have to watch the tape. They cannot make mistakes like that again going into this game versus Tampa Bay. So before I move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game and some of the things we have to do versus the Bucs, one thing I got to say is players that I have to talk about during the Indianapolis Colts game. And a couple of players I thought did well, and a couple of players I thought that they have to improve. And I talked about this in my last video. So if you guys don't watch that, you probably won't need to go watch that last video that I made about the Indianapolis Colts. The first player I brought up that I want to see more from was MVS. And MVS did absolutely nothing in this game. Juju is still on pace for 1,000 yards. And McCole Hardman, haven't seen anything from him. Got to see more for McCole Hardman. Absolutely brutal. MVS has not stepped up. We've not seen MVS be that down-the-field guy at all. We saw Frank Clark get a sack. Frank Clark, I called you out. You got a sack. You played pretty well. Okay, the defensive line, I thought, played pretty well versus the Colts, even though their offensive line is not very good. So I was proud of the defensive line. I was proud of the defense in general. They locked down Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor did not do well versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he had 45 yards, something of that matter. So I thought the defense was great. They only scored 20 points, and it took it all the way down to 30 seconds to score that 20th point. So I thought the defense played well. The offense was terrible. Orlando Brown, you wanted to get paid this offseason. You were terrible. You were on your butt 3 times in that game. Absolutely horrible from Orlando Brown. Absolutely terrible. You have to do better. Versus Buccaneers pass rush. You're going to have to play better. You cannot play like that versus the Bucs. They have a stellar pass rush. You have to be better. So we'll see what Orlando Brown can do this future the season, because he has not been good at all so far and wanted to get paid in the offseason. I am very, very glad the Chiefs did not pay him, because he has looked very bad so far. Do better, Orlando Brown. You have to do better. Sky Moore, I called you out. I want to see more of Sky Moore, and you're muffin punch. You can't do that. Can't be muffin punch. We got to see more from Sky Moore. So those are some of my takeaways from my last video. And it was also stop getting cute in the red zone. This shuffle pass. They tried a little shuffle pass with Travis Kelce. They tried to do it. Didn't work. Stop getting cute in the red zone. Spread guys out wide. Throw the ball and get some freaking touchdowns. Butker. We need Butker back. We need Butker back. That's also another takeaway. Got to have Butker back. I know I've went on a rant here. Usually my videos aren't like this, but today it was a rant. And yes, I will get more into the Bucs games, things we have to do versus the Bucs. But today was a rant. So those are some of my takeaways from the Indianapolis Colts game and the players that have to step up versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's what we're about to get into right now, what's going on with this Hurricane Ian and Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. Now moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and how Hurricane Ian could change a lot of this game. Hurricane Ian is heading towards the Tampa area, also Orlando area where I currently live. So is this game going to be played versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? We don't know as of right now. We know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers evacuated Tampa and they headed to the Miami Dolphins practice facility to practice there. So we don't know if this game's going to be played. The NFL is looking at it. Hopefully this game's going to be played because I will personally be at that game. So you will get my live reaction from the game on Sunday Night Football But I will tell you this. If the Kansas City Chiefs play remotely how they did Indianapolis, they will lose this game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have one of the best defenses in the NFL, probably the best defense in the NFL. They'll be getting Mike Evans back, and they'll be probably getting Julio back. So if they get those guys back, the Bucs offense will be better. The Bucs offense has been one of the worst in the league, only 3 touchdowns in 3 games. We know about their offensive line problems. The Bucs, they have huge offensive line problems. Leonard Fournette has been very up and down. He had a good game versus the Cowboys earlier in the season and hasn't looked good since. Did not have a good game versus Green Bay. So if the Chiefs defense can hold up and blitz effectively versus Tom Brady, not just blitz, because you do have to stay in coverage, but blitz effectively versus Tom Brady, I think they can win this game. If they can figure out how to put up 24 points on the board and play solid defense, because this offense has not looked good for the Bucs. 3 touchdowns in 3 games. So if this team can put up 24 points versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they will be okay going into Tampa. Now, before we leave, I'm going to give you 3 things we have to do versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And number 1 we have to do, and it's one that you can probably guess, is getting after Tom Brady. Get to Tom Brady. We know how frustrated he can get when he gets sacked multiple times in a game. He doesn't like it. We have to figure out scheme ways to get to Tom Brady in different ways, quickly. If it's safety blitzes or whatever it may be. But if you can get them in 3rd and long, 2nd and long situations, their offense is not built for 3rd and long or 2nd and long. So get to Tom Brady. That'll be the first one the Kansas City Chiefs need to do to beat this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. And number 2 thing we need to do to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is running the ball effectively. The Bucs have one of the best defenses in the league. If we can run the ball effectively, this will open things up in play action and the pass game for Patrick Mahomes. Last game, if you take away Patrick Mahomes' rushing yards, the Chiefs were rushing the ball for 1.6 yards per carry. Clyde Edwards had 0 rushing yards. It was a horrible game rushing the ball for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have to be able to run the ball better if they want to beat a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team this Sunday night. And number 3 thing I think we need to do is the young corners in the defense has to step up versus Mike Williams and Julio Jones. You have to keep those guys at least under 100 yards if you want to win this game. You have to try to keep this Bucs team out of the end zone because they have a really good defense. That's why I said if the Chiefs can put up 24 points or more, because if this Bucs team puts up 21 points or more, they will win this game because they have that good of a defense right now. The Bucs defense is the best in the league. So figuring out ways how to slow down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Mike Williams and Julio Jones. How can Jalen Watson and some of these young corners stop Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? All right, guys, that'll do it for today's video. I will be back on Friday, and I will be at the game Sunday night for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll keep an eye on Hurricane Ian to see if this game will be played. But make sure you guys like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And, of course, make sure you guys go check out Jaden's Jerseys. It's always a sponsor of today's video. Got the best jerseys for the best prices. So make sure you guys go check them out. And go check out all of our other videos here at the TPT Podcast. See you guys on Friday. Have a good week.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe and the notification bell to see our videos each week. This episode's also brought to you by Jaden's Jerseys. Gear up, America.